Hello YouTube, Nominate here, and tonight I'm having a look at the ARK Survival Evolved mod called ARK Automated by ElectroSkellington. Now this mod adds in a set of structures to kind of automate the gameplay a little bit to take away some of the tedium. So without further ado, let's get into see what this adds. So first things first, it adds in a set of new items to be crafted. The first one is the Tinker's Workbench. Now this is actually a required item to be able to craft any of the other items. The next one is a refrigerator. This works much like the stock refrigerator, is just slightly styled, or styled slightly differently, and the freezer, and the two of these actually stack together, so you place down a refrigerator and then the freezer snaps to it. The freezer is basically a refrigerator, just makes it last a lot longer. Okay, the next item is the trash can, and what this does is it just cleans up the thrown items on the ground by running into it. It's just kind of useful if you're trying to throw away lots of items at a time. All right, and then this is where the automated stuff actually starts. So the first one of those is the auto compost bin. Now, what this does is it picks up basically poop created by dinos in a fairly large area, and collects it into the compost bin. It leaves a little bit of room for thatch, and we'll go ahead and create fertilizer just the same as a normal compost bin does. All right, the next one is the thatch processor, and all this just gives you a single point where you can load all of your thatch in, and then the compost bin will go and do the rest. So the thatch will feed into the compost bin. Next one is the fertilizer silo, and this just kind of completes the chain. So, you've got the thatch processor as your input, the compost bin just works on its own, and then the fertilizer silo is your output, so you can actually go and pick up the fertilizer to put everywhere. The next one is the egg crate. Now, this is an automated egg collector, similar to what hopefully the Oviraptor will be. However, it collects it automatically, puts it into a crate, and keeps a couple of stacks of eggs at all times, basically, as long as you've got enough egg-laying dinos in the area. The next one is the incubator. Now this, as the description says, it gathers a single fertilized egg from some sort of radius, and then moves it into the incubator, and then it works like an air conditioner. And then the last one is the cauldron, and effectively this is just a cooking pot. However, it automates getting water out of a tap nearby and refilling the water containers inside the cooking pot. Otherwise, it functions exactly the same. So I will return shortly once I've got these set up, and we'll have a look and see what they do. And we're back. And so I've got all the structures placed down, so let's go and have a look. So to start with, let's wander over here. So we've placed down an egg incubator here. And as you can see, we can actually pick this up directly, although in single player mode it plays the destruction animation. On servers, I believe it does not. So yeah, that's the little egg incubator, and I've got a fertilized dimorphodon egg here. So if I drop that down, we should see within some period of time that it snaps over onto the incubator. It's currently saying too cold, so we'll see what happens in a moment. While that's doing its thing, we'll go over here. So this is the auto compost bin. And as you can see here, we've already got some thatch and some poop in here. I've only placed these down a few moments ago. I did not put any thatch into these manually. This has all been automatically fed in. As you can see, it's all the way down, and some of them are starting to pick up some poop. And yeah, it's they've all got five thatch in them. And these, of course, are being fed by the thatch processor here, which has now lost half of its thatch. And then right next door to it, we've got the fertilizer silo. Now, it hasn't had time to produce anything, but this is where it ends up. It looks like it has not picked that up yet. Now it might be, and I've seen some of the mods have this side effect where they won't pick up something that the player has explicitly dropped. So it might be. Oh no, there it goes. There it goes, and it's incubating. So it was too close by the look of it. So it did actually go and pick it up. It was on the floor over there, and it's now here. And yeah, it was saying too cold, and it is now incubating. So we've got a couple of little dimorphodon growing up there. All right, this one here is the trash can. So this is the one that magically makes things disappear. So let's oh, what can I throw? Let's throw away some ammo. This is a sandbox environment, so I'm not worried about losing anything. And then if we walk over the trash can, there we go, instantly disappears. So it's a good way, like if you wanted to, go through and like throw out a whole heap of stuff, you could just walk over the trash can and it all disappears. So you can see there's a couple of other things downstairs, but the next thing here is the Tinker's Workbench. So this is the item you actually use to craft everything. So you can see the cost, the cauldron, fairly inexpensive apart from the metal. The incubator is, relatively expensive. It requires metal, silica pearls, electronics, and so on. Egg crate is very, very cheap. Just wood, thatch, and fiber. The fertilizer, solo, metal, and cementing paste is not too bad. The thatch processor is just wood, thatch, and fiber. The compost bin, wood, thatch, fiber. These are really, really simple ones. The trash can, also just 5 metal ingots, pretty easy to get going. The freezer and the refrigerator are rather expensive, again requiring a good chunk of electronics, crystal, polymer, and metal ingots. Now if we wander on downstairs here, you'll see we've got the standard refrigerator next to the ARK Automated refrigerator and freezer. So the freezer, you see, they're both stacked. They actually snap up and above each other. In fact, we can pick that up. And you'll see if I try and place it, it wants to snap. It actually won't place anywhere at random. It actually needs a snap point. And yeah, it snaps on top of the fridge. So yeah, just a, standard refrigerator, currently spoiling in 7 days. Now spoiling in 800 days. And then if we go to the freezer, again, currently spoiling in 7 days, now spoiling in 7,995 days. So, it does exactly what is advertised. Exactly the same as the standard freezer goes to nearly 800 days. This is the cauldron. So the only thing that's really special about this is when it's lit, so when this is actually lit, any water containers in here will be auto refilled so long as there is a tap within 3 or 5 foundations. So I have not actually run water yet there at the moment, but if I was to, for example, run water from the lake down here to say underneath the floor here, then it would auto refill any container. So I can't show that one in action at the moment just because of the setup I currently have here in my, this is just a sandbox base that I set up for mod testing. But it is there, and I have tested that on a server, and it does indeed work. And so the last thing to have a look at is upstairs here, the egg crate. So we currently got 2 dimorph eggs there, and if I throw one onto the ground here, just a regular, not a fertilized one, just a regular dimorph egg, then you'll see in a moment, if I just go and open the inventory here, it can take up to 30 seconds. It's on a 30-second timer, basically. So it can take up to 30 seconds to actually happen. But any moment now, we should see that dimorph egg jump into this inventory. There we go. Just happened. So it's got a decent range. It would cover this floor. So if I happen to get one of my birds over here to, drop an egg, then it should actually reach all the way to the other side. I believe the distance is actually configurable, and by default it's around 10 foundations. So it's a pretty decent distance. I don't know whether it's going to pick up that egg right in the corner. It might just be a tiny bit too far. But the crates are very, very cheap, so you can put multiple of them around. You know, my thought was with these, you put one in sort of each of your little areas for kibble, you know, for your kibble farm. So you can have multiple of them around. Have some perfectly timed rain for the end of the video, but that concludes the review of ARK Automated by the workshop user ElectroSkellington. If you want more information, a link to the workshop item will be in the video description. If you like this content, please you know, put a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this. And thank you for tuning in.